welcome to a new video. If you do not know me, I'm Fabie, I'm 21 years old, I'm an international student, I love to read, I own a dog in university, and I love music. So nice to see you here, or nice to see you here again. Let's go. So to give a little bit of background information, I'm 21 years old, I'm an international student here in the Netherlands. I come from Germany and I brought my dog from middle school to university with me. When I was finally able to convince my mom to get a dog in middle school, because I felt so lonely, I did not have many friends, etc, and it also turned out I had depression. I had to promise her that I would take him with me to university, because that was my plan at the moment, going through middle school, going through high school, and then going to university eventually. And my mom also knew that I liked to travel a lot. She also knew that I may wanted to study in English and may not want to study in Germany, in my hometown. And she was, well, it's going to be really hard taking him with you all the time, because to make a lot of compromises if you want to have a dog. My dog is a 7-year-old, a mix like out of a pug and chihuahua. I'm gonna insert a picture here, but you're gonna see him a lot more in the video while I'm talking about the pros and cons of owning a dog in university. Oh, and I forgot to mention his name is Jace. And some of you may already have someone in mind when I'm saying that name. And yes, I loved, and I still love, the Shadowhunter series. And that's why I named him Jace. And he's kind of like Jace. He's pretty stubborn. He's kind of like blonde, blackish, but we're gonna ignore that blonde pure, so yeah. So let's get on. So I'm gonna start with the cons, because I think the cons are way more important, because they're also financially. It's not about whether you think you are able to manage it mentally, but more of whether you are able to manage having a dog financially. Because some of this you might not have in the back of your mind when you think about getting a dog, because there are some things that only are necessary when they're necessary. You're gonna see what I mean in just a second. So the first thing, finding a place gets way harder. So usually in university, students live together in one apartment, for example, to lower the rent. If you are not able to find people that want to live with you and your dog together, it's going to get way harder. And depending on the size of your dog, there's also no option to let them just be in your room and not wander the corridors, the kitchen. And honestly, it also sucks not having your dog there in the kitchen. And some of the dogs will have, there's a possibility that your dog will have separation anxiety. And if all your roommates can hear your dog howling from the other side of your room because you're in the kitchen or because you're on the toilet, it's not that nice to live together, right? So then the second thing, of course, is you have to find a landlord who's allows you to own a dog. Even if you're living with other people together, you might have found some people who are old friends of yours, who are very welcome with having a dog, who are not allergic to dogs. So if you have the option to know these people before and you have the option to look for an apartment together, then comes the problem with, well, a lot of landlords do not allow having a dog. A cat, they might, but a dog, a lot of them do not. So your chance of getting an apartment is just gone almost to zero. Also depending on the area you live, on the city you live, on the country you live, obviously. Now, what I can say about the Netherlands, it is very hard to find anything. The chances are like 0%. Then again, also, I'm very lucky to live in a complex where it's kind of like a gray zone, because it's just said that you may not own any animals that can cause disturbance to other people. So as long as nobody feels disturbed by my dog barking from time to time, I'm totally fine. But I have to keep him in my room. My room is this, what you can see around me. It's not that big. I also have a shower next door, but toilet and kitchen I share with 7 other people. And my dog is not allowed to wander the corridors. He's not allowed in the kitchen, which makes sense because there's a lot of food out of in the open. And yeah, so he's basically in my room except when I take him out, and I do not like the situation, so I'm trying to get an apartment on my own, because I also enjoy being alone more than having to share everything with 7 people. But the thing is, your rent will increase because the room will be bigger, because you have your own kitchen, because you have your own bathroom, which you do not if you just share an apartment. So the second thing will be you have to structure your life or your social life around your dog. So everything that you have, your classes at university or college, your friends that you might want to see, your social time with other people, going out and going to the city, going to the library, you have to structure all of this around your dog. You have to go outside with your dog. And for 6 to 8 hours, the dog will probably be fine on their own. But after that, you have to come back home and go for a walk with your dog to let them do their business. So you also have to then count in the time it takes you to commute to university, to commute to the city, to commute to the place you want to meet your friends, and you basically have to schedule everything around that. So you have to be aware of that you will have less social life, less time to be in the library if your commute time is very high, and more time in your room or in your apartment if you have one with your dog. And not to mention, you might also have to plan your university courses and lectures around having a dog. Because for example, for me, it takes half an hour by bus to go to university, and if I have a course in the morning and then again in the afternoon, I have to go back to walk my dog and then go back to university if I would have not been able to just call the professor because it's a seminar and there are different times when the seminar takes place, and I had to ask them to please put me in another group so that I could manage and then I have to go back and forth to university. So please keep that in mind. And some courses you might not be able to switch, and then it's going to be very stressful and you're going to lose a lot of time that you could have been learning, studying, whatever, just to commute back and forth to take your dog out. Then the other thing is, I see that a lot of student associations, they go on trips together on the weekend or something. You will not be able to do that. Except for when you find someone you trust enough in a different country. You might also study in your hometown, so you might have your family that can watch your dog. But other than that, if you're in a total different city, if you do not have anybody that can watch over your dog, if your dog is not used to being in dog daycare, then you will not be able to do those trips. And then the third thing is your overall costs are going to increase based on whether your dog is like big or smaller because of the food, which will add up to your groceries on a monthly basis. Also based on what you want to feed your dog, obviously, what kind of quality of food you want. And then the other thing is you might not have in the back of your mind, but what if the dog gets injured? Going to the vet can be very expensive. Depending on what accident your dog has, the cost can be very high. So you have to be aware of that. You always have to have some money in your back pocket to make up for that and be able to, for example, in the worst case scenario, afford surgery for your dog. And you also have to consider that your dog might, depending on the country that you're in, needs regular vaccines or other medical care. So yeah, keep that in mind. And now we're gonna go on to the pros. When I went first to the Netherlands, I had my introduction week here and I did not have my dog yet here because me and my mom and I decided that it would be for the better, that it would be less stressful, because I'm already really stressed out by new situations and meeting a lot of new people. Honestly, in the end, I kind of regret it because I felt so lonely, because I'm not the person who makes friends easily. I'm not the person who thinks that other people will like them. So it was very hard for me to have my dog here for the first month that I was here. So the first pro argument for getting a dog would definitely be you will feel less lonely. You will always have someone in your room who is by you, who just might also doze off like my dog is doing here on my lap. And you will have someone, even if you are really bad at making friends and you do not have any friends in the beginning, you will have someone there for you that loves you unconditionally, and this is such a nice feeling. This is probably the biggest pro argument that I could name. It made me feel less lonely when my dog was here and when I was able to go and walk and just spend time with him. The second thing would be if you had the dog before university, then they might also exhibit like feeling of home. And depending on what you connect to home, it can be a really nice feeling to have some part of home in your old life with you when everything around you changes in university and you're not a high school student anymore. Third thing is it can help you de-stress. Having my dog here helps me so much with de-stressing. Every time I seem upset, he comes up to me or he just gets up and I'm kind of distracted from the things that I'm doing, but I'm also distracted from being stressed in a moment, if it kind of makes sense. So this is also kind of a game changer, and every time I'm stressed, I just try to cuddle him and it just feels so much better after that. Then the other thing would be you will leave the house at least at least one time a day and get fresh air and maybe even sun, depending obviously on the season that you have, because in the winter it was like I went out before university and it was dark, and then I went out again most of the times before 6 o'clock, but if I went out like anywhere 5 to 6 o'clock, it was already dark again. So yeah, then the thing that comes hand in hand with getting at least one time out a day is we already have an increased amount of steps that you take each day. You will already have an increased amount of physical activities that you do each day, and if your day mostly consists, especially in finance week, just sitting at your desk and studying and just staring at a screen, then this is really great for getting you out of the house, because normally you probably would have spent your whole day inside just studying to have enough time to study, but this really helps to take breaks because you have to go out with him. It's not depending on yourself, it's depending on whether your dog really wants to go out. And I mean, if my dog really wants to go out, he's just standing by the door and he's making loud noises because he wants to go outside to do his business. So this will also help you to have automatic breaks. It will help you to have fresh air, to have a reset, and probably also be able to study better and focus more because of the fresh air and the sunlight. And now to kind of the summary and the conclusion. In the end, I cannot make the decision for you. Getting a dog in university or college, or taking your dog from home with you to university or college, has its pros and cons, and in the end you have to weigh what weighs more. For example, for me, being able to de-stress, having someone by my side, not feeling lonely, is way higher than having to look for a place way longer than other people, because I have a decreased chance of getting a place with a dog. And then also keep in mind, for some people it might be easy to get out of bed in the morning, go with your dog before uni, and then also they might not have that much of a social life. If you really have to decrease your social life, are you able to manage that? Not being able to see your friends as often as you do now, maybe. And are you able, if you really feel really bad, are you able to get out of bed and take your dog on a walk? Or do you have someone who's able to take your dog on a walk? Because now you may be healthy, and if not, then get well soon. But what if the day comes, you're really ill and you have to take your dog out for a walk? Are you able to manage that? Please try to imagine yourself being ill, having a headache, whatever, and taking your dog outside. Because there's no chance that you can just keep the dog in the whole day because you're ill. Or there's no chance that you do not need anyone else to take care of your dog time to time. So yeah, please consider all of the things. This is all that I learned, all that I experienced with owning a dog in university, and also with owning a dog before university. And I hope it could help you to make the decision of whether you should get a dog or whether you should take your dog with you or not with you to university or college. So see you in the next video. Bye!